Welcome to the Explorations of Me. Come on in, sit down, relax, and enjoy my process of this.
Hi everyone, it's Ann. I'm here to do the Explorations of Me for July. And July was to explore a different type of technique or style or whatever in your art. And I'm going to go a different way. I think I'm going to just use something that I don't normally use in my art. I was going to do encaustic, but it's just too much to do in one session, and I'm not real familiar with encaustic, and so for me to do it for the month of July was just too much going on. So basically what this month's prompt is: stepping out of your comfort zone. Research a new technique or art style and create a layout using said technique or style. Well, I am going to go and I'm going to do an abstract. I don't do very many abstracts, so I figured I would do that. But first I started out with a layer of collage, which I always like to do because I kind of always like to have something showing through in my art. I kind of like that surprise kind of thing in my art. And so I'm going to go ahead and start like I usually do, which is a layer of gesso, and I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to use that I don't use very often in my art. All right, but first I'm going to take some gesso, and I'm kind of scraping over the collage part of my piece, and then sometimes I'll go in and scrape some areas more off, because I kind of sometimes want that section to show more, show through more than it normally does. So that's what I'm doing here. And if the scraping doesn't work, then I take a baby wipe and I'll wipe off the excess of the gesso in some areas that I might want to have something showing through a bit more. Some areas that will show through a little more in the piece. And then I'm going to take my heat gun and quickly dry this off so that I'm not wasting too much time. And the next step, I'm just taking some acrylic paint and I'm just going to go ahead and scrape some off in different areas. This is really not acrylic paint. It's actually, well, it is acrylic paint, but it's matte finish and it's a chalk paint. It's more of a craft paint, like for outdoorsy stuff, but I like the pastel-y look, chalky pastel-y look, so that's what I'm going for in this one. And I'm just kind of scraping in random areas. And stepping out of my comfort zone because I don't normally do too many abstract pieces, so wish me luck. So I like kind of sometimes a great way of doing an abstract and you want some, lines or whatever. I like running a credit card, the edge of it through the paint, and then adding whatever lines or things that you might want to add to this, to your abstract painting. All right, so another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some Shiva oil sticks. This is actually oil paint in a stick. So it does smell pretty strong, all right? And basically it's really awesome when you first get it, it has a hard film around the edge. So you have to cut through that hard film to get to the soft oil paint. And then it'll dry again like that. So you have to kind of cut that skin off. It's kind of like a skin almost that encapsulates the oil. And it's pretty much just dried oil paint that, you know, that dries around it. So you'll need like a X-Acto knife or some kind of a knife, sharp knife, to cut off the excess skin off the top. Unfortunately, I couldn't find my X-Acto knife, so I'm using this pen knife that it's not the greatest, but it'll do the job for now. And what's cool about it is you can basically paint with it, draw with it, you know, that kind of thing. And so I'm going to add some extra color using the oil, the Shiva oil sticks. And what's cool about this is it does take several hours. Sometimes it can take longer than that for it to completely dry and cure kind of thing. So, you know, you might want to leave it in a well-ventilated area. And when you're working with this, it is a good idea to work in a well-ventilated area because they are kind of smelly. They're not toxic, but, you know, still it's a good idea to take, you know, some precautions in when you're working with Shiva oil sticks. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scrape into the Shiva. I could even scrape it like this. See how I scraped it? And I can actually even heat it up almost to create almost like an encaustic effect. I can heat up the oil and it gives it kind of a luminescent kind of look. And then it will dry back up. Okay. And then I'm going to take some white and I'm just going to add some white in different areas, but I'll have to cut off the skin first. And as the stick gets lower, you kind of push it up and it comes with a piece of cardboard around it. So it's easier to work with. And I just like to add it in sections because it kind of adds a little more texture to your work and to this abstract that I'm doing. It's kind of a funky abstract, but you know, hey. And I can scrape it. I can use, you know, other different type of scraping things to scrape it with. So I'm gonna look and see what I have here. I know I've got like a stick or something here I had. Okay, this was for something else, but I often will keep things because of the way I can use it for to add different textures to my work. Alright, so there you have it. I hope that you enjoyed my little take on working outside your comfort zone. Go ahead and go out and make an abstract or use a different technique that you have never used before. Or go and use an art supply that you've bought and you've intended to use and you haven't used it. And don't forget to check out all the other lovely artists who are involved in the explorations of me. I'll post links down at the bottom in the description box below. And thanks again for watching, and I shall see you next time. Toodles, bye, have a wonderful day.